So in chapter 3 of business law, it's about the American legal system, and in this chapter we're going to learn about what jurisdiction is, what the venue is, the structure of the court system, and then actors in the legal system. So jurisdiction, it's the power of a court to hear a case and render binding decisions. There's two types of jurisdiction. There's original jurisdiction, and that's power to initially hear and decide a case. It's also referred to as trial court. And then there's appellate jurisdiction, which is power to review a decision previously made by trial court. So some personnel in the jurisdiction. There's a plaintiff, which is a party on. They are the people who are filing the complaint. So in our homework example of Martha Stewart and the Cancer Research Company or the state that is filing the report is the plaintiff, and the defendant is who the action is being brought, which would be Martha Stewart and CEO of the company. Some other things, and during the jurisdiction process, there is a complaint, which just states why they brought them to the court, and the summons are how they actually get the plaintiff and defendant to the court. The venue is a location of the court where the hearing is going to be stated, and it's based on where the defendant lives, the location of where it happened, and then where the incident occurred originally. The next thing we'll talk about is the structure of the court system. The structure of the court system is broken up into the U.S. Supreme Court, which is the highest, and then there is state Supreme Court, state courts of appeals, state trial courts, U.S., and then there's a bunch of smaller courts that fall under the U.S. Supreme Court. Some people that are a part of the legal system are the attorneys. They represent both parties. They are the ones that do all the talking. They plan everything on what they're going to ask the person that's on the stand to try and have their party win. Some things the attorneys have to law are attorney-client privileges, which just informs that if the client says anything to the attorney can't go out and say that to anybody. And you have that in every workforce that you have. For doctors, they can't say patients that have medical things, they can't go out and talk about those. And there's also the work product doctrine, which it's just an agreement between the attorney and the client, talking about the case. Some other things that the attorneys will do are they represent the clients, they negotiate labor unions, and they draft all the legal documents that they have. In trial court, there's a judge. The judge rules on all the motions. He is the main dog on what goes on and what is said in the courtroom. If he doesn't like anything said, he can just stop that from happening in his courtroom. Appellate judges, they are a little different than the actual judge. They serve on the panels and they review lower court cases. So they kind of read into, for example, maybe like if a tenant in an apartment's not paying the rent, that would be an appellate court judge because the landlord owner is trying to appeal to get the tenant out that's not paying the rent. Some other actors in the legal system are like the judicial restraints, which the court tries to refrain from using them, but sometimes they have to. And then the jury is another one. You have a petite jury, which is a jury of 12 citizens, and they decide on criminal cases. And you have the grand jury, which is 12 to 23, and they are the ones that work for the U.S. Supreme Court. And the last thing we'll talk about here is adversarial system, and that's where a judge hears evidence, arguments presented by both sides of the cases, and he makes a decision based on each side. The only downfall about this is people think that they ignore evidence that might help one side or the other,